In this video, we're going to be covering part 2 of my tips for new players for Diablo 3, whether it's on PC or on console. If you haven't checked out part 1, then please do so. I'll put it up in the top right of this video so you can go check that one out before coming back to this one. So let's not waste any time, let's get right into it. One thing I wanted to cover in this video was challenge rifts. It's something that you should do. It changes every single week. They pull a greater rift from someone's account, have it set up in here, and you go through and you basically complete the rift. All the ones I've done, they're usually pretty easy for the most part, and you get crafting materials at the end of the rift. So you complete the rift, you go back into your game as normal, and you actually have a stash in there of crafting materials, and it does include crafting materials that you would normally get from the bounties that are specific for each act. So it saves you some time from having to do those really boring bounties, so it's definitely worth doing every single week. One thing that you're going to want to check out is Squirt the Peddler. So in Act 2, if you go to the hidden camp, you'll find Squirt the Peddler, which is a merchant. So it's here that you're going to buy the design for Hellfire rings and Hellfire amulets, which are not relevant for all builds anymore, but if you do need it in your build, this is where you're going to get the plans for it. So in here you can also get essences for each type of gem in case you need something specific, and I'll show you how to do that. So when you're in the cube, you can put in any gem times 9 and one of the following. So for this one, I'm looking to try and get topaz, so I'm going to put in the topaz. I have 82 rubies, so I'm going to put that in. When you transmute it, it'll change the rubies into topaz, and you can continue to do this to get more topaz over and over and over. Now you may be wondering, well, what do I need to do this for? When am I going to really need that many gems? Well, you're going to need that many gems eventually later on when you're doing flawless. So for me, I need 3 flawless royals if I want to augment ancient gear. So if I want to add more intelligence to my gear, then I have to have these flawless royals to do it, and that takes a lot of gems, so that's where this comes into use. One thing I wanted to cover in this video was crafting materials. I run out of crafting materials all the time, specifically reusable parts, so I wanted to cover how you can go about getting those. So we know that these items come from the specific bounties. Reusable parts come from common white or gray items. You have arcane dust, which comes from magic blue items, veiled crystal, which comes from rare yellows, and then forgotten soul, which comes from legendaries. You get 1 per legendary that you destroy unless it's an ancient, and then you get 2, and then if it's a primal you get 15. If you're running low specifically on one type of resource, as I said, reusable parts is the one that I'm typically running low on, there is a quicker way to go about getting these, other than farming. So if we come over to Kanai's cube, we have convert reusable parts, convert arcane dust, and convert veiled crystal. So I have mostly veiled crystal, so I would choose convert that one. So what that's going to do is it's going to use some death breath, it's going to put veiled crystal in here, and then I'm going to put in a white or gray item, and I'm going to transmute it. And then what that's going to do is it's going to give me 100 reusable part. So if I was to put in a magic blue item, I would have got arcane dust there, and you can do that. If you have mostly arcane, you can put in white or yellow to get veiled crystals or reusable parts, so something to keep in mind. So for specifically reusable parts, I like to go to Halls of Agony level 2 and level 3 if I'm looking for parts, because they have weapon racks, which almost always are going to drop grays and whites, so that's how I go about getting those. We talked about bounties a little bit in the last video, and it's something that I would do every time you play, at least go through, and it's better if you team up with people, because then you can all split up to different acts. So if you have 4 people, each one of you can do a different act, and it just goes much quicker. If you don't have friends in this game, join a clan, and then find clan mates to do it. That's the easiest way. But each individual act does drop specific gear for that act. So when you've decided on this build, check this list to make sure that one of these items that's specific to a bounty isn't on this list. That way you're not spending a bunch of time doing greater rifts or Nephilims or even farming normally trying to find an item that you really just can't find because you have to do a bounty to get it. So it's definitely worth looking into to make sure that you know what you're looking for and that there's no specific area you need to look for it. The other reason you want to do bounties is because you get recipes for gems. So you can't actually craft all the different types of gems until you get some of these recipes. So these flawless royals and these royal diamonds and royal rubies are not an option until you actually get the crafting recipe for it. So that's everything that I had for this video. I hope it was helpful. If you got something out of it, be sure to give it a like and subscribe so you can keep up with my other Diablo 3 content as it comes out in the future. Thanks for all your support, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.